American plane maker Boeing catalyzed the jet age when it launched the four-engine 707 in the late 1950s. However, going forward, it also had to consider what aircraft it might produce for shorter flights to and from smaller airports. Airlines had different demands, with some wanting proven four-engine jets, while others preferred the idea of twin-engine aircraft. However, Boeing came up with an alternative solution that effectively met both of these demands halfway. The result was the three-engined Boeing 727 design. But how exactly did this popular narrowbody come about? This is something we'll take a deeper look at for today's video. To meet customer demand, Boeing needed to create an aircraft that could access smaller airports. That's because, as capable as the 707 was, it was also unsuitable for the short runways of smaller facilities. There seemed to be a market out there for such an aircraft. Indeed, major prospective customers included American Airlines, Eastern Airlines, which would be the launch customer in 1964, and United Airlines. American was looking for a twinjet, but Eastern demanded a plane with at least 3 engines capable of serving its international network. And so, Boeing eventually decided on a 3-engined design, which was satisfactory for the 3 aforementioned carriers. Interestingly, it would be the only Trijet ever produced by Boeing. This new plane also needed to descend quickly into airports while avoiding obstacles like buildings in the runway's vicinity. To achieve this, Boeing developed a large and sophisticated flap system, which provided extra lift at low speeds. In another first, the 727 also featured a small gas turbine engine auxiliary power unit, or APU. This innovation eliminated the need for a ground power supply to start the engines, and it became a particular selling point for airlines operating in developing countries. As Boeing began recognizing the aircraft's potential in the late 1950s, its rival, Douglas, was working on the rear-engined DC-9. Meanwhile, over in Europe, the British Aircraft Corporation was also designing the BAC-111 around this time. Hawker Siddeley developed the Trident, arguably the closest matched performer to the 727. Boeing knew it needed to sell at least 200 examples of the aircraft to make the 727 a success. However, by December 1960, it had received orders for just 40 airframes from Eastern Airlines and United. Even when the aircraft made its first test flight in 1963, orders were still well below the break-even point. As such, Boeing sent the 727 on a worldwide sales tour in an attempt to drum up business. During this tour, the demonstration aircraft visited 26 countries. By the time it returned home, the jet had clocked up an impressive 76,000 miles, or 122,310 kilometers. Ultimately, the gamble paid off, and Boeing far surpassed its original target. We'll take a look at the total sales later on in this video. 1965 was unfortunately a dark year for the 727. The year prior, in 1964, the aircraft first flew commercially with Eastern. However, tragedy would plague the new aircraft the following year, with Boeing witnessing 3 of its 727-100 aircraft crashing within 3 months. Altogether, these accidents resulted in 131 fatalities. Investigators looking into the crashes discovered that some pilots did not fully understand the flap system. As such, they reportedly allowed the planes to descend at too great a speed. The FAA's Air Transport Accident Library had this to say about United Airlines' incident on November 11, 1965. The captain failed to recognize and arrest an excessive sink rate on final approach, resulting in a touchdown 335 feet short of the runway. With this particular incident, the Civil Aeronautics Board, or CAB, had determined that the accident was survivable and that none of the passengers sustained any traumatic injuries that would have precluded their escape. The 43 fatalities were attributed to the fire caused by the broken fuel line. The CAB noted that similar future events could not be ruled out, and that the airplane should be designed to have a higher degree of survivability in these types of events. According to CNN, the Civil Aeronautics Board and the National Transportation Safety Board, its successor agency which was created in the wake of the crashes, cleared the 727 and blamed pilot error for the accidents. Some politicians called for the type's grounding. Speaking with CNN, Bill Waldock, professor at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, noted that the headlines in the papers called it the deadly 727. You had travel agents booking passengers away from the airplane. It could have killed the airplane. However, Boeing and safety regulators were adamant that nothing was wrong with the plane. Even so, the authorities did declare that 727 pilots needed more training and that Boeing should modify the flight manual procedures regarding the final approach. Despite reassurances that it was a safe means of air transportation, the aircraft fell out of favor among passengers for around 6 months. Boeing's original production run was for 250 aircraft, but the larger 189-seat 727-200 proved vastly more popular than expected. In total, across all 727 varieties, Boeing built and delivered 1,832 of the Trijets, far surpassing its original target. After 22 years in production, FedEx received the final Boeing 727, a 727-200F, in 1984. By 2003, most airlines had retired the loud, thirsty planes in favor of quieter, more fuel-efficient aircraft like the 737 and larger 757. The 727's last commercial flight would take place in January 2019. Despite its accident-plagued early years, the 727 became one of Boeing's and indeed the world's best-selling airliner families. While the 727 filled a niche in its day and overwhelmingly exceeded Boeing's expectations, a Trijet commercial aircraft simply wouldn't work in today's world. By 2022, there were 38 Boeing 727s still active at 23 operators around the world. Regular passengers no longer fly on the type, with no commercial versions of the jet still in operation. Instead, they primarily serve cargo and military duties, and one airframe even serves a specialized role as an oil spill response jet. As of May 2024, there are 32 aircraft still technically in service, according to data from CH Aviation. The number of jets actually active may be fewer than 32. The biggest remaining operator is Serve Air Cargo, a Kinshasa-based Congolese company founded in 1993. This carrier has 4 aircraft, all previously serving with FedEx Express from the 1980s. Other notable operators with 2 or 3 active aircraft include Brazilian carrier Total Linhas Aéreas, Guardia Nacional, Mexican National Guard, and Air Class, a Uruguay-based cargo carrier. What do you make of the Boeing 727? Did you ever fly on one? And if so, with which airline? Let us know your thoughts and experiences in the comments section. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.